Megyn Kelly had a blockbuster exclusive last night on the Fox News Channel. A former Customs and Border agent, Philip Haney, claims that the State Department and a Homeland Security Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties closed down an investigation he was conducting into fundamentalist Muslim named Tablighi Jamaat. Philip Haney says the investigation was shut down because the regime did not want to profile Islamic groups. Well, who the hell are we profiling if we're not profiling Islamic groups at Homeland Security and at immigration, for crying out loud? Philip Haney says the feds also deleted his files, which included information on Tablighi Jamaat's ties to Farouk's mind. This is a guy that had a connection with Saeed Farouk climate change. And the regime ordered this guy to shut up, stand down, and destroyed his files. And now he's on television telling anybody who will listen. Philip Haney claims that if his investigation had been allowed to continue, Saeed Farouk climate change may have ended up on the no-fly list. And if he had ended up on the no-fly list, he would not have met and connected with Tashmin Malik, and they would never have gotten married, and they wouldn't have become Bonnie and Clyde of Islam. Audio sound bites. Philip Haney, last night with Megyn Kelly. She said, Philip, why do you believe the work you were pursuing may have led to the detection of these two?
The network of individuals that we worked with were tied to a large group called Tablighi Jamaat, part of a larger group called Deobande. We had thousands of organizations or individuals in the database, and we tracked them as they moved in and out of the United States on the visa waiver program. The Farouk Mosque is called Dar Uloom. It's a global network of similar kinds of mosques under the umbrella of this organization.
Look at how much we knew. Look at how much the regime knew about Saeed Farouk climate change. Megyn Kelly says, under your program, you would have identified the mosque, and then what would you have done?
Individuals that were already in the case in 2012 went to that mosque. Therefore, as we were tracking them, we would have put the red light on them. Syed would have been put on the no-fly list because of association with that masjid, and/or the K-1 visa that his wife was given may have been denied because of his affiliation with a known organization.
Mm-hmm. And you say they shut you down because they felt this was essentially profiling of Muslims.
They specifically said that. We got the internal memos, and it says that we are not allowed to develop a case based on Tablighi Jamaat specifically and/or any Islamic group.
We are not allowed to develop a case on any Islamic group. Ladies, this is why I made a big point yesterday, and it actually found its way onto television soundbites today. I made a big point yesterday about the lack of moral authority in our government at the leadership level. I mean, there's nobody. You know, Obama doesn't have any moral authority. Obama can't condemn anybody. I mean, he can't praise anybody. Obama's lost the moral authority to have credibility and believability. And the problem in our country right now is that there's nobody in leadership in Washington, any party, nobody has any moral authority. There's nobody that's uber respected. There's nobody, when they tell you something, you believe them. There's nobody when they condemn something or approve something, you believe them. And evidence like this just exacerbates that. What the hell are we supposed to be looking for if not Islamic groups? So what does this mean? I'll tell you what this means. Terrorism, folks, is a national security issue. Terrorism is a safety issue. Terrorism against American citizens, domestic or international, stopping it, identifying it, protecting, defending, keeping safe American citizens is in the top 2-3 things that the Constitution requires leaders in this country to do. National security ought not be political. There ought not be one aspect of national security that's political. And yet, This administration has politicized everything, and in the process, they have corrupted it. So now we have a whistleblower, Customs and Border agent, working at the State Department and a Homeland Security Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, basically being shut down for obviously political reasons. And this is what gives rise to questions about Obama. Why does Obama so insistent? Why is he so insistent that we not discover what there is to be discovered about Muslims? Why would the Obama administration demand that an investigation like this be shut down, evidence destroyed, and the man involved files deleted and told not to say a word about it? Well, it's those kind of questions that give rise to all kinds of answers. When there's no leadership and no moral authority, then people are free to fill in the blank. And things like this don't make common sense. We're in the midst and have been arguably since 1993. But folks, you could go back to even prior to that, when there were terrorist hijackings of American airliners. You could go back to the 80s and the terrorism against U.S. military in the Middle East. I mean, this is nothing new. It's intensifying, and now the war has been brought to our shores. 1993 World Trade Center bombing. 2011 World Trade Center. Fort Hood, the incidents are numerous and they are expanding. They are increasing in number. San Bernardino last week, and yet no matter where we turn in our government, we are told to not see what we see, to not think what is obvious. And anybody in government who does see what there is to be seen apparently is shut down and their data deleted. It's being politicized. Obviously, for some reason, Obama doesn't want any of this known. And I'll tell you what's happening. People within the Obama administration are now breaking. Obama is becoming isolated on this. We had the Secretary of Defense on television yesterday saying ISIS is not contained. We've had a former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff say ISIS is not contained. Obama is saying in his Sunday night speech that even Democrats are now panning as embarrassing, that ISIS is contained, that there is no threat of anything happening domestically after a domestic event. So even people in the Obama administration are running away from Obama on this, and yet he steadfastly maintains there's nothing to see here, and that what you're seeing isn't what you think it is. And what you think it is, only you think it because of your racism and bigotry and so forth and so on. It's leading to all kinds of questions that people are asking. The questions are legitimate based on Obama's proclamations and his actions and stories like this. Questions are rooted around the curiosity of what is it that makes Obama so damn protective of Islamists, jihadists, Muslims. What in the world is going on here? Well, you start filling in the blanks and answering the questions yourself, and I guarantee you millions of Americans are. And they're coming up with all kinds of answers, and none of them are pretty. But our president has created, there's a moral vacuum, folks, a moral vacuum at the highest levels of our government and leadership. There is a moral vacuum, there is a leadership vacuum, and there is a common sense vacuum. There is so much that appears obvious that is not being acted on, so much that is obvious and is happening, we are told isn't happening, but we can see it. Some of our fellow citizens are being killed right before us, and we're told, no. You're racist if you think that. You're bigoted if you... No. It's inexplicable. And then over here, everybody wonders why somebody like Donald Trump continues